Amelia stood silently in the middle of the yard, tears slowly falling down her cheeks, not from pain, but from the realization of the truth. "Aren't you ashamed? You expect me to marry a girl from a family like this, with a house about to collapse? What if your parents walked into the wedding looking like this? I'd rather die than let that." Liam's voice echoed harshly as he shouted at Amelia's parents, who stood at the gate of her modest home. Amelia had been in love with him for over a year, and she had believed that love would transcend everything. But now, in the most excruciating way, she saw the man she loved for who he truly was. The story begins several years ago. Amelia, 27, was beautiful, intelligent, and the only daughter of a wealthy and influential family. However, unlike most wealthy girls, Amelia lived a simple and discreet life. She never sought to flaunt her wealth or use designer labels to impress others. Instead, she dressed elegantly but modestly, and people often mistook her for an ordinary girl from a humble background. Amelia believed that the value of a person was not in the material things they owned but in their character and how they treated others. Liam, 30, was a successful businessman from a prestigious family. He had it all: the looks, confidence, and career that everyone envied. However, beneath his perfect exterior, he held deep-rooted prejudices about class and social status. Having been raised in an environment where wealth was equated with worth, he believed that love could only exist when both partners were from equal social standings. Liam first met Amelia at a business seminar, and he was immediately drawn to her. Though her modest style was different from the flashy women he was used to, her intelligence and grace intrigued him. He assumed that someone so poised must come from a wealthy background, and this curiosity drove him to pursue her. But Amelia, cautious after experiencing many false pretenses in the world of high society, was not easily moved by his compliments. Over the course of a year, Liam's persistence wore down Amelia's defenses, and they grew closer. Still, Amelia had doubts. She knew that true love couldn't be measured by appearances or status. When Liam asked her to introduce him to her family, she agreed, but with a plan of her own. She wanted to test whether his love for her was real or if he was simply enchanted by her beauty and the status he assumed she represented. Liam arrived at Amelia's village with high hopes, confident that her family would be as impressive as he imagined. However, when they reached the village, he was taken aback. The quaint little homes and narrow dirt roads were nothing like the opulent surroundings he had envisioned. They arrived at a crumbling house, its paint chipped, and the roof sagging. Amelia's parents were sitting outside, her father chopping wood and her mother sewing by a dim oil lamp. Amelia softly called out to them, her voice gentle yet laced with an underlying challenge. "Dad, Mom, this is Liam, my boyfriend." Liam froze. His eyes scanned the surroundings, the broken furniture, the shabby clothes of Amelia's parents. His shock quickly turned to disgust. This is your family," he stammered, unable to hide his contempt. Amelia's heart sank. She had hoped this test would prove that Liam's feelings for her were genuine. But she knew, deep down, that it might not go the way she had hoped. "Do you seriously think I'll accept this?" Liam sneered. "Look at your parents. This is not the life I imagined. You think your family and I can be together. It's impossible." Amelia fought back the tears. "Liam, please. This is who I am. This is my family. And this is my life." But Liam wouldn't stop. He ranted on, mocking her family and her simple life, making cruel remarks about her parents and their humble existence. His words cut deeper than anything she could have imagined. As he stormed off, she thought she had lost everything, the love she thought was real. But then, as he was about to leave, a slow, deliberate round of applause broke the silence. Liam turned to find an elegant man in a well-tailored suit and a woman beside him, both smiling warmly. "Hello, Liam," the man said, his voice calm but full of authority. "I'm Amelia's father, and this is her mother." Liam stood frozen, his face draining of color. He realized in that moment that he had been wrong. Amelia's parents were not the poor peasants he had imagined. They were wealthy, influential, and had been watching him the whole time. "You don't need to rush, Liam," Amelia's father continued, his gaze sharp and piercing. "We wanted to see who you really are, and now we know." Liam stammered. I don't understand. What is going on?" Amelia's father responded with authority. We are wealthy, but we need someone who respects our daughter for who she is, someone who values love, not just money. You don't seem to be that person." Liam was speechless, a mixture of embarrassment and regret swirling in his chest. He had judged Amelia based on her outward appearance, and now he saw how wrong he was. But it wasn't just Amelia who had learned a lesson. Liam, too, had discovered something about himself. His obsession with wealth and status had clouded his judgment. Amelia stood in silence, her heart heavy but relieved. She wasn't sad about losing Liam, but grateful that she had learned the truth before it was too late. In the days that followed, she reflected on the pain caused by Liam's words, but she also grew stronger. She realized that love could not be based on appearances or material wealth. True love was about respect, trust, and genuine connection. A year passed, and Amelia's life began to settle into a new rhythm. She dedicated herself to her work, her family, and her charity endeavors, all the while carrying the lessons she had learned in her heart. And then, fate brought her to Ethan, a young entrepreneur who was just as humble as he was successful. Their paths crossed at a charity event, and instantly, Amelia felt the difference. Ethan was not just interested in her for her wealth or beauty. He was genuinely kind and cared deeply for the well-being of others. They started dating, and as their relationship grew, Amelia found herself opening her heart once again. This time, however, she was cautious. She wanted to be sure that Ethan truly valued her for who she was, not just for the lifestyle she led. One weekend, Amelia decided to test Ethan. She invited him to visit her family, but this time, it was a different situation. She took him to a modest house in the countryside, where her parents would pretend to be poor. Ethan was hesitant but willing. He didn't flinch when they arrived at the old, rundown house. Instead, he greeted Amelia's parents with warmth and respect. He helped with chores, laughed with her family, and genuinely engaged with them, showing no signs of disdain or discomfort. Amelia's heart swelled with emotion as she realized that this was the man she had been waiting for, someone who saw the value in her and her family, not because of their wealth or lack thereof, but because of their humanity and love. Ethan passed the test with flying colors, and in that moment, Amelia knew that she had found the man she could trust, love, and grow old with. Their relationship blossomed into something beautiful, built on mutual respect, love, and understanding. And when the time came for Ethan to meet Amelia's real family, he was embraced with open arms. Amelia had learned that true love was not about wealth, status, or appearances. It was about kindness, respect, and a willingness to accept each other, flaws and all. And she knew that with Ethan by her side, they would face whatever life threw at them, hand in hand. Their wedding was simple yet beautiful, held in the backyard of Amelia's family home, surrounded by friends and loved ones. Ethan, humble and kind, proved that love wasn't about the grand gestures. It was about the small, everyday acts of care and respect that made a relationship truly strong. As they exchanged vows, Amelia's heart was full. She knew she had found her true love, a love that would last a lifetime.